are getting started. Can everyone see and hear me okay? Yes, very good. Great. If you guys have questions, Michelle joining from the UK, wonderful. Sarah, nice to see you or have you on, I should say. New York. Michaela, hi, Michaela from Kansas City. Great. If you guys have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. Um, Daniel, my partner, is there. Irma from Florida, welcome. Daniel's there. If you guys have questions during the presentation, feel free to drop them in there. He's going to be monitoring the chat, and we are going to get started. Again, my name is Megan Garmers. I'm with the Bridal Masterclass and Streamline Social. Thanks so much for joining us today. We're going to talk about overcoming social media overwhelm, which is probably something that most everyone deals with. One of the things that if you have a business, especially in the wedding industry, social media is one of the most crucial parts to your business. And so we're going to kind of talk a little bit about how to tackle the overwhelm that comes with social media and make sure that it can be an effective tool for your business, making sure that it works for you instead of controlling you. So I'm going to get everyone started here. For whatever reason you cannot see the presentation, please let me know. Just drop it in the chat. But as I mentioned, we are going to get started. One of the biggest issues that we oftentimes have is decision paralysis. And in case you're unaware of that, it is the inability to decide due to the fear of making the wrong choice. So oftentimes we have too many choices, which obviously applies to social media, too many platforms, too many things to share, too many things to post, too many things to comment. And it can be difficult to compare what to do, when to do it, how to do it. And it's easy, therefore, to feel overwhelmed and end up not choosing anything, just kind of throwing your hands up and being done with it. In the end, it ends up paralyzing you from actually making progress, which is why you're all here. We are going to talk about it, and you are not alone. Did you know that every day you make over 35,000 remotely conscious decisions? And if you're busy, you fully understand the remotely conscious part of that. But it really is a ton of decisions that you are making every day. About a third of everyone struggles with what to do when it comes to what they should eat, what they should wear, common things about what they should do first, where to go. And 78.7% are stressed, especially after the pandemic, with longer to-do lists and less time to do everything in. So again, my name is Megan Garmers. I'm with the Bridal Masterclass. Our goal is to make sure that businesses in the wedding industry have resources and strategies to be able to be successful in today's world with new couples coming up every year. There seems to be a new type, a new generation of couple we need to be addressing and targeting. Our other company that we're launching is Streamline Social, and that really is an opportunity for businesses to be able to focus on what you do best and doing the things that you love instead of constantly being overwhelmed with social media. So we're going to talk about the overwhelm today. And the 3 steps that we're going to talk about are recognize and prioritize, plan of action, and implementation. So all of these things are critical to making sure that we can actually take care of everything going on in our lives. in addition to social media. So we need to know what, why, and how we're going to do our recognition and prioritization. So first, we need to be able to make a list. If you already make a list, that's great, but sometimes we try to hold it all in our heads and we forget things, and then it comes up later and it's too late, or it's something that ends up kind of falling by the wayside. But understanding what it is we have to do is important, but also why. So when you make a list, sometimes it's good to actually know what the reason is. And sometimes that seems silly, but it is really important to make sure that we can prioritize things well when we understand what the reasoning is behind why we need to do them. And then lastly, how, understanding how we're going to get things done, what the next steps are going to be, and then how we can be able to consolidate a lot of the actions to get more things done in less time. So the Eisenhower principle, I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with that. Or drop it in the comments, say, yes, I am. Or if not, say, that sounds great, but I have no idea what that is. The Eisenhower principle, it's understanding the difference between the urgent and the important. So when it comes to the urgent, the urgent is not always important, and the important is not always urgent. So Michaela says she has no idea. That you're right on. There's lots of people who have no clue. But understanding the between the important and the urgent is critical to making sure that you can get everything done. So if you were to take your to-do list and put it into 4 quadrants, you have the important and the urgent, you have the not urgent but important, and you have the not important but urgent, and lastly, you have the not urgent, not important. So as you're going through and figuring out where things fit, which quadrant they fit in, you want to understand what it is, your next steps, what the to-do is from that. So if something's important and urgent, you're going to do it. If something is not urgent but important, you need to decide what to do. If something is urgent but not important, you can delegate that. And if something is not important and not urgent, you should delete that. And by deleting it, it allows you to free up your mental bandwidth to take care of the other things in your quadrants that you need to do. So the Eisenhower principle actually came into being, or recognition, when Eisenhower's someone on his cabinet came to him and said, "I have so much to do. How do I get everything done? You do it. What is it that you do to get everything done?" And Eisenhower said, who can define with us with accuracy the difference between the long and the short term? Especially when our affairs seem to be in crisis, we're almost always compelled to give our first attention to the urgent present rather than the important future. And I know that that's true in business when you're thinking about all of the things that you want to accomplish, all the important things. You oftentimes get sidetracked or overwhelmed with things that pop up, mini fires, emergencies, family emergencies to professional emergencies. You end up reacting instead of being proactive about what it is that you're doing with your day, and pretty soon the day's over. So how do we combat that? One of the first things is really recognizing that we all have a bias. These are 4 different types of biases that are very common. So if you relate to all or one of these, don't feel bad at all. It's something that we all struggle with. The first one is projection bias. We take on too much because we inaccurately project that we're going to continue to feel the same way in the future. Think of any new kind of ideas, habits, tasks, sports, skills that you want to learn, and you buy everything for it. and then it all kind of sits in a corner and you don't do anything with it. That's a projection bias. You were really motivated, gung-ho to do that, and now life, got in the way, or you just weren't really interested anymore. The second one, optimism bias. We take on tasks that are too big for us to handle, thinking we are more efficient than we are. Most business owners oftentimes will have this simply because you are the business owner and you get things done. It is your business and no one's going to do it as well as you do. So we think that we can do it all, and oftentimes overestimate how efficient we are, and then end up not getting things done. Bike shedding. It is easier to make decisions about simpler matters rather than to try and tackle the complex ones. So oftentimes the complex ones get pushed down and back and never actually end up being taken care of. And lastly, restraint bias. We overestimate the level of control we have over our impulse behaviors and underestimate how distracted we might get. This one is particularly common when it comes to social media. We oftentimes think, oh, I'm just going to go on for a little bit. I don't know if any of you can relate, where you end up on TikTok, on Instagram, and you just start, and pretty soon you look up and it's been an hour, 2 hours. During COVID, I'm sure everyone's been there, where it was like the entire afternoon and it was gone. You have no idea where that time went. That has to do with restraint bias. And so now we're going to kind of talk about a plan of action. Now that we understand what some of our struggles are, what do we do about them? So in order to have a plan of action, we need to know why we're doing that, where, and how. So understanding that the why, right, for social media in particular, why is social media so important for us to actually take care of, and urgent? It's not just important, but clearly it's urgent as well. It's because your ideal clients, their customer experience journey, it starts before they contact you. And this is different if your business has been in business for longer than 10 years. It's a very different world, which I'm sure you can understand. In the chat, tell us how long your business has been going on, and that's also going to help you understand essentially kind of where you are in your mindset of how it is that you're connecting with couples on social media. Knowing that your clients, their customer experience journey starts before they contact you, that's crucial, because that means that what you're doing is you need to be speaking to them, marketing to them before they reach out, before they send you an email, before they make a phone call or DM you. You don't even know they exist. And they are already researching you and figuring out whether or not they want to engage and talk to you. So we have Michelle for 15 years, Michaela 18, and Sarah for 6. Yeah, it is a completely different world now. Social media has taken over. And so understanding how we can utilize that. Irma, 17 years. So you all completely understand how it's a different world. So your brand awareness marketing needs to be viewed as one of the most crucial turning points in your sales process. That was not the case 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. So really rethinking how we approach social media. It's not just something for fun. It's not just something that's kind of like there. It is more important than your website was 10, 20 years ago. So video marketing in particular, which I'm sure we all know, the TikTok, Instagram Reels, it is more than just brand awareness. It is closing the sale with someone who you've likely never met. Understanding that closing the sale now has even contacted you. In their minds, they've already made a decision whether or not they want to potentially go with you. Sometimes they've already made the decision, yes, I absolutely want to book you. Other times it is between you and maybe one or two other businesses, but those decisions are made without your involvement. When it comes to Instagram and TikTok, that is where marrying couples are. And that can be very frustrating for a lot of people. It's not necessarily where a lot of business owners who have been in business want to spend their time when it comes to putting things out for or about their business. I don't know how many of you can relate. Drop it in the chat if that's something that's a little bit frustrating for you when it comes to TikTok and Instagram and feeling like you always have to perform. You know, even if you're not dancing, being able to create content is something that can be overwhelming. So where do we need to be? Obviously, that is social media, which is why you all are here today. Understanding that 60% of Gen Z uses Instagram to discover new brands, products, and services. Michaela says it's overwhelming because she sucks at it. Well, I will say this, when you have had a business for more than a few years, learning new platforms, which is part of the overwhelm, can be a daunting task because you need to learn it before you can actually use it and apply it. But these are the stats when it comes to social media. And like anything else in your business, if there is something that is crucial, we usually figure out how to do it. Social media has kind of crept up on a lot of businesses, and so it hasn't necessarily been seen as an urgent and important task to take care of, which has only delayed the process and created more overwhelm. So in 2021, TikTok actually surpassed Google as the most visited website, which blows my mind. Every time I read that stat, it blows my mind because when we think of Google, Google is like, it's Google. So how do you top Google? TikTok actually has topped Google multiple times since then as being most visited place online. And that's because people are searching for whatever it is that they're looking for on TikTok. Not only are they looking for the business or the product, but they're also looking because there are going to be things like reviews. There's going to be what seems like unbiased perspectives when it comes to a product or a service. People are going to be talking about that, and it's all on TikTok. 72% of Gen Z is more likely to buy from a company that contributes to a social cause. That is something that a lot of businesses have been doing for quite a while, but at the same time, it's something that perhaps isn't always at the forefront. Gen Z is really, they're really keyed in on what you're doing socially and will oftentimes choose businesses based on that. So if you're donating to perhaps a local charity, you volunteer, these are things that you want to make sure you advertise on social media, that you put out there so people know and can see that their values align with yours. Gen Z shoppers are motivated by a combination of value, exclusivity, and influencers. Again, it's not going away. This is a place where they spend their time. And so understanding that, again, it's not just a nice thing to have for your business, it's actually an important and an urgent thing for your business. I think we skipped a few slides here. We're going to try to go back. There we go. So our virtual presence comes to Instagram. It's 2.1 billion active users, which again, most like, yeah, I get it. But when we really think about it, if you are just starting your business and kind of looking at it with new eyes, if someone said this is the place where 2.1 billion people are, and 77% of those people are under 44, which is your target age demographic, would you spend time there and put your marketing efforts there? Absolutely. That is Instagram. People spend about an hour every day, and most of them, over 90%, watch videos. So again, if we're thinking about where are these couples, where are our clients, they're on Instagram, they're on TikTok, and they are watching videos. So as a business owner, what should I be doing? I should be creating videos that are going to be speaking to these couples. 58% of users are more interested in a brand after seeing it on a story. So the other aspect is making sure that you don't just have reels, you don't just have posts, but you are the option. As we said, traffic hits than Google in 2.6 billion, 0.2 billion active users. 81% of them are under 40, under 39 years. Spend a little bit more time when you think, right? A little bit longer. These stats are from 2021. They were released too, and so are actually thinking that most people spend an hour to on the app. About a million videos every day, and 52%. If you're thinking of, okay, where do I want to spend my time to get the most out of my marketing efforts, it's going to be Instagram and TikTok when you're looking at the stats. So how do you do that? Understanding that you need to know why you're doing it, right? Your mission, have a plan, be prepared, and be different so that you can actually have an impact when you are putting your efforts towards it. Your brand is really important. Jeff Bezos, who founded Amazon, he said, your brand is what other people say about you when you are not in the room. We've all been there where people have said things about us when we're not in the room behind our backs. Understanding that as a business, knowing that what other people are saying about us, honestly, maybe they're, doing a review on TikTok. What is it that people are saying about you when you're not in the room? That is what your brand is. And if you don't like what that is, then we have to think about how to change that. Understand what sets you apart. Understanding who your ideal client is important. I don't know how many of you, drop it in the chat, how many of you have changed who your ideal client personas or avatars are since the last 5 years. That's something that's really important because it will constantly be changing, especially when it comes to the wedding industry. Knowing who it is that you're targeting changes what you're putting out, how you're putting it out, what platforms you're putting it out on. But making sure that your ideal client, he or she, they want, they need, and they appreciate. Sarah says that she has changed it. That's awesome. And that is really important because knowing that they want, need, and appreciate what you have to offer is key. As you are thinking about what it is that you're going to be posting on social media, who you're marketing to, what is it that they want, they need, and they appreciate. Those are going to be what's going to be informing your choices on social media. So thinking about what your unique value proposition is for your ideal client, those are the things that really help you determine what you offer, how you're going to be putting a package together, what you're posting on social media, where to advertise, where you should be, your brand pillars, your 9-grid strategy, and more. I don't know how many of you can drop it in the comments, how many of you think about all of those things as you're putting that together. And like Sarah says, that's changed who her ideal client is, but how many of you have actually changed your packages, changed what and how you're posting on social media and where you advertise based on that? You can drop that in the comments. Those are things that you want to think about because if you haven't, you're still marketing to the person from 5, 10, 15 years ago who is no longer looking for your service. In some cases, they don't even exist anymore. Michelle has a great question. What is a 9-grid strategy? 9-grid strategy is the strategy you use on Instagram or TikTok. It has to do with the first 9 squares, essentially, that you see on someone's account. So if you were to go to the Bridal Masterclass or Streamline Social, if you were to go to an Instagram account and you see the first 9 posts, those 9 posts, reels or static posts, tell a story about your business, about your brand. Who do you serve? What do you do? Why are you special? And what is it about you that should compel me to want to contact you, to engage with you, to tell other people about you? So that's what a 9 grid strategy is. And sometimes that can be confusing, but when you are really clear about what that is and it continues to repeat, you realize that it is always a consistent story. Sometimes it's easy to think, okay, I have a review, I'm going to post it. I have a picture, I'm going to post it. I have a video, I'm going to post it. I have to post something. But by doing that, you're not necessarily telling the same consistent story of who it is you serve, what you do, and why it is that they're going to want to contact you for their business. And lastly, we're going to talk about implementation, which is exactly, when it comes to whether it's implementing a 9 grid strategy, 10 strategy specifically, this is really important. How many of you know what time blocking is or have used it? Put that in the chat. For time blocking, it has to do with your time management strategy. And as a business owner, one of the things that's really important is making sure that you are managing your time wisely. But time blocking, it allows you to schedule out every part of your day into specific blocks or bite-sized time blocks, where you are doing the things you have to do. When you look at yourself now, the brain to under, okay, time have set do these, whether it's in checking and spending time with your friends or family, push, taking a break, healthcare, post, things, marketing, much thing that is common, kind of know things that be helpful to that we have. To introduce habits and this is you just look at your you walk every morning, you have breakfast, or every day, time you want, or every day at a certain time you spend an hour with kids, or you answer emails during the time. Perhaps you're going to have to switch. Every day is a little different, obviously, or urgent, right? So switch it around. Go up by down by appointment, or to have an appointment with a client. You would around because it is important. Understanding things that you have to do for your business are important for your business. So they deserve a block. They deserve some way, not what's left over, but designated for you to be able to swing what you know you need to do. So this is right. If you have breakfast at the same time every morning, you have focus time, a meditation time, you might call certain days, you eating, have eating people for lunch, for coffee, out. So you have to prepare. So you have invoices, presentations, types of decks, social media, workload, active, uh, eating dinners, the work that you get eating, or you have to cook. So it ends up reactive. And you end up not taking care of your next week. you really want to. But doing it this way, as you can see, the person, this example, the focus time, it's not always at the same time. If there are other things that are important, then the focus time is reduced or it's switched to another time, but it's always there. The key to time blocking is making sure that your important things that you have to get done in a day are not being dismissed from the urgent things. So when it comes to social media, what are the important and the urgent things to add to your time blocks? One of those is researching. So I always suggest taking the time and putting a cap of time on what it is that you're doing for social media, just like any other aspect of your business. So if you're going to go on and you're going to do some research, you're going to log on to TikTok or Reels and you're going to watch one video and you're going to pause it. And then you're going to think about it, write this down, put it in your notes, in your app on your phone. What is it that you thought about it? Was it great? So you want to rate it 5 stars, 4 stars, 0 stars. Why was it great? Why was it not great? Was it, the lighting good? Were they clearly speaking, enunciating? Was it unclear what they were saying or why they were doing what they were doing? All of those things are important. Too much text. So you've rated it, you've thought about it, and now rewatch it. Go back and then note the beginning, the middle, and the end of the video. So what was the structure of the video? What was good and bad about it? Was it entertaining, educational, or engaging, or was it a combination of those things? And then how could you use that template to make it your own? When we're no longer mindlessly scrolling through Instagram, but instead thinking about how we can utilize those as tools, that is something that allows us, again, to have control over social media instead of having it control us. So some video don'ts, very easy to do, but some things that are not great when it comes to videos. If you're talking too fast, people can't understand what you're saying. If you have too much text, people can't read it fast enough. If it's hard for people to watch or listen to you, so if you don't have good lighting, if they can't see your face, if it's unclear what it is that that you're doing, people are going to swipe and go to the next video. Having too long of a caption, if the point of your video has to do with the caption, then you're missing the point of the video. The video should be able to tell and show what it is that your caption is pointing to. The caption should be maybe some additional information, maybe some additional details that don't fit into a text in the video. And lastly, make sure that your video is not like everyone else. You want to be able to stand out. If something is too common, then people are going to swipe through it if they've seen it 5 million times already. So when it comes to the time blocking implementation and it comes to habits, those are good things for us to be able to utilize to overcome the overwhelm when it comes to social media. James Clear says, don't tell me what's important to you, show me your calendar. So if you were to think and look at your calendar as a reflection of what you actually do every day, that tells you what's important to you. Sometimes it tells you what's urgent to you as well. And it might tell you things that you should be delegating to better use your time so that you can focus on the important things. But identify what it is that you have for your goal. So particularly with social media, what is your goal? Do you want to do 3 posts a week? Do you want to do 5 stories a day? And what type of habit do you need to be in? What type of environment is going to be conducive for that? Can you do that while you're sitting on the couch, or do you need to be sitting at a desk? Do you need to get out of your house and not be faced with distractions of doing things at home in order to be able to get these things done? What is it about that environment that's required to help you be able to establish those habits. So identify, and then understanding what progress looks like for your habits. One of the most important things when it comes to habits is starting the habit. So when you are starting a new habit, and it's easy to kind of get out of the habit just as easily as it was to get in it, learning how to reduce the scope so you can stick to the schedule. A good example of this is, let's say that you wanted to run a marathon, and you had a goal and you had a schedule of running every day, or running every other day. And whatever it is that you had for your mileage, maybe you can't make the full mileage that one day. But if you stick to the schedule and reduce the scope, instead of 5 miles, you did 3, right? Soon, those habits are much easier to bump up from 3 to 5 miles than it is to go from 0 to 5 miles. So when you can actually reduce the scope and stick to the schedule of what it is that you've created, it allows those habits to snowball and really help you achieve the goals that you have set out. You also want to think about your upstream habits. Upstream habits are like dominoes. So if you wanted to lose weight, for instance, right? If you have a goal of running a marathon and therefore are going to be more active, that's an upstream habit. By nature of that, you most likely will also reach the goal of losing weight, being more active. Understand that those upstream habits and thinking of what those are allow you to reach more goals, without having to think about each goal individually and then plan out what it is that you have to do for each one of them. If it can be a byproduct of what you're already doing, that's the best way to do it. And then lastly, understand that your input becomes your output. It is really important to think about what it is that we're putting in our heads, so that we can produce the best possible results for everything in our lives, whether it's personal or professional. So when you want to think about what it is that you would like for your output, for your business, who it is that you're attracting, if you're constantly looking at perhaps accounts that are making you feel badly about yourself, about your business, that's not helping you or motivating you to be able to put forth your best efforts to create new material. That's only going to make you feel bad and not want to do that, because I don't want to do the damn thing, or I can't think of those ideas, or I can't. It's a lot of can'ts. Instead, if you're thinking of, okay, what are the environments and what is it that I can do every day to help motivate, to help educate myself so that I can achieve these goals, that's what's going to actually help you continue to achieve those goals. Barry Schwartz in The Paradox of Choice, about how difficult you don't how difficult choosing is. He said that to choose hard, to choose well is harder. And unlimited possibilities, hard still, perhaps too hard. We so many possibilities of videos we can use, content that, hey, it's time for you, but we can kind of break it that we're creating and really an advisable basis. It allows for these smaller kind of habits, these smaller to-dos to get done. And that will, in essence, also be able to help you reduce the overwhelm and get more done. Which is why we created Streamline Social. Streamline Social is it's a new business that we have that allows small businesses or anyone who has to create content along with 5 million other things that you're doing. it allows you to be able to do that easily. So anyone can execute a social media strategy. And when it comes to understanding what it is to post, captions, hashtags, video content ideas, holidays, all of the things that you'd otherwise have to research and otherwise have to try to implement, it's all laid out for you. So it's very easy, fill in the blank, follow the instructions, kind of like baking a cake, right? So you can bake a cake from scratch, which is great, but you have to go buy all of the different ingredients and you have to put it together and then you bake the cake. Or you could buy a mix, and the mix tells you you got to add some water and egg and maybe some oil, and then you're done. And that's what Streamline Social does for small businesses when it comes to social media, allowing them to be able to just add the content they have, fill in the blanks of what it is that they're trying to accomplish, and then they get the strategy and the output to be able to just put it together. So most importantly, it's really crucial to think about the systems that you have that allow you to really be successful. So what types of systems do you have in place to ensure your success on social media? So whether that's a scheduling platform, whether that's time blocking and doing additional research on your own, prioritizing your to-dos in a different way, using the Eisenhower principle, whatever it is that you need to do, creating a system that supports your goals is going to be one of the most important things that you can do to reduce that overwhelm. Because then instead of the ever present large looming idea of being successful on social media, you have very small bite-sized to-dos to be able to get everything done. So all of our contact information is there. If you haven't already connected with us, we'd love to connect. If you have questions about Streamline Social or any of the social media platforms, any of the ideas that we talked about today, I'm happy to answer those for you. But we have a little bit of time if you wanted to drop any questions in the chat, we can answer those now. Do any of you have any types of systems that you already have in place and utilize for your social media? Do you have scheduling software? Do you have someone dedicated to doing your social media so that you don't have to do it? Michaela says she's trying out Tailwind and Meta schedulers. It's overwhelming. Is it overwhelming because of how to use it, or is it overwhelming because you still have to do it? Sarah says she uses Later. She saves a lot of posts she likes on Instagram for inspiration. That's a great way to do it also. Michaela says both. So Sarah, one of the things that she mentioned is saving things for inspiration on Instagram. That's a great way to do it. I would suggest one thing. When you are on Instagram, if you are saving things for inspiration or saving things maybe for other ideas, personal, whatever it is that has less to do with your business in particular and more to do with you personally or how you run your business, you want to make sure that you have a separate personal account, because if you don't, the things that you're saving is telling Instagram's algorithm that those things are related to your business and that either you are interested in purchasing from them and that it's not necessarily going to be showing your posts or helping you get in front of the right audience if your audience is not their audience. Does that make sense? Michaela says that both both using that and that she feels like she's old and doesn't comprehend all the ways to utilize social media effectively. She feels it doesn't have the time to, yes, making reels takes a lot of time. Making videos takes time. Understanding that that when you are thinking of all of these ideas and creating them, it's the same type of thing. Like if you had an account with some type of bridal website, whether it's Zola, The Knot, Wedding Wire, right? Understanding what you're going to put in your description, understanding for your website what it is that you're putting on perhaps a packages page or a services page. That takes time. Thinking about those things when it comes to your social media should be a similar approach. And I think sometimes, again, because social media crept up on a lot of businesses, we aren't thinking of social media in the right way and thinking of it as a really crucial part to having a successful business. Thanks, Michelle. Sarah says she has a separate folder for business posts. So having so on Instagram, you can have separate folders for those saved posts, but the act of saving a post under a certain account changes the algorithm for that account, even if you have a separate folder. So just to be mindful and aware of that, because sometimes we think that because it makes sense in our heads and we're using it in different ways, Instagram tries to make it more streamlined and easy. So if you really liked fitness and you're saving posts in a separate inspiration folder for, maybe it's for fitness, Instagram's going to start showing you fitness things and possibly showing your account to fitness people who are also interested in fitness. Any other questions at all? Well, I really appreciate you all joining. I think it's something that it certainly is not going away. Social media is not going away. It's only going to continue to evolve. And I really want to make sure that that small businesses have options, that you have resources, and that you have ways to be able to do what it is that you do best. And oftentimes that is not going to be running a business or running a social media strategy for your business. So those are things that why we created Bridal Masterclass and why we've created Streamline Social. We're actually going to be doing, we have our State of the Wedding Industry events, mastermind events that are going out all across the country. We're going to be doing not just in certain cities. The last year we have in Chicago, maybe it's a city coming up this November. Then in Q1 for the beginning of the year, we're going to be all over south, west, and the east as well. So stay tuned. Area, feel free to let me know, and we can see if we can squeeze in, or hopefully you can join the team. So again, we're here. There's other ways that we can helpful, but feel free to DM, Instagram, TikTok, free, and to see you. Thanks for joining me, everyone.